Alrighty, welcome back to Hallow Haunts. I'm your host Will, and today for this video I'll be reviewing the classic, people might think one of the most greatest horror movies of all time, and that is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. This movie stars Jack Nicholson and Danny Lloyd. It's about this family that goes to this hotel called the Overlook Hotel, and it's about Jack becoming a caretaker and watching over the place and writing his stories, but eventually stuff gets dark. The family falls apart later on in the movie. Jack begins getting crazy. Danny has this power where he can shine, or they call it The Shining or something, where he can, like, he just has this ability, like, he's talking to this imaginary, like, friend, or he's named Tony, and he's got, like, this power. I can't really explain it too much, and that's what I like about this movie. You can't really, like, when you first watch this movie, you're just so confused, like, from start to finish. Like, I feel like at the end you get more into it. By the ending, it gets more into explaining everything, but the beginning you're just so confused, and I love that. I love that. Movies that scare you with slowness, and I probably said this in my Exorcist review if you want to go watch that. It's movies that scare you with slowness, subtleness. Those are horror movies. Horror movies that are in your face, jump scare. You don't care about them, to the fact they do it so much that you're not even scared by the movie anymore. And Shining is a totally opposite ball game. Shining is definitely a deep, disturbing psychological film. It's a classic. Jack Nicholson is, my last reviews will say otherwise, but I'm trying not to curse on this, but I'll curse right here anyway. Jack Nicholson's fucking phenomenal. I fucking love him in this movie. He's so good. He's so damn good. You're looking at this guy, like, you look at this guy from, like, the start, and you're like, okay, this guy seems alright. And then he's, like, the scene where his wife goes to check on him, and he just is like, honey, don't bother me. I'm trying to type my story, and when you bother me, I can't focus. Like, you're like, what is going on? And then you learn more about the Overlook Hotel, about, what's his name? Mr. Grady, about how he kills his family, his wife, and his two little girls, and those two little girls end up being the Grady twins that Danny sees in one of the scenes standing in the hallway. That's another iconic film in this scene. But my favorite scene in this whole movie is, here's Johnny. That's probably one of the most iconic scenes in this film. Everything about this film just throws you off. It's just a great film. It's a fantastic movie. I love this movie. And like I said before in my Texas Chainsaw review, I'm going to be reviewing classics. Like, not all horror movies are good. There's huge horror movies that suck, man. But I want to get the good ones out of the way, and the ones that are classics, and the ones that when you mention the topic horror, you think of movies like The Shining, or The Exorcist, Psycho, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Thing, and like the list goes on of great classic horror films. Now, there's stupid classic films like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which I will be reviewing later on this channel, but Shining is definitely one that you're not going to be disappointed by. And Stanley Kubrick, I believe this is a Stephen King book, so I haven't read the book by Stephen King, but this is just, Stanley Kubrick is definitely, and I've heard from things that he went a whole different direction in this movie. Like, most of the stuff from the book isn't really in the movie. The movie's quite different. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard. So, this movie is just definitely, like, it's deep. It scares you with its backstory. It doesn't scare you with loud music. Another thing I want to mention in this film, the soundtrack is so unsettling. I love it. I love the soundtrack in this film. It's so scary. It's so unsettling, especially the opening scene. The dun, dun, dun. I can't really make it out, but it's you know what I mean if you've seen the movie. It's definitely a scary soundtrack. I love the score. I love how it's shot. The cinematography is great. Acting is phenomenal, especially Jack Nicholson. And by the way, Danny Lloyd is awesome in this movie, especially for a kid. He is phenomenal in this film. Just the scenes where he's going around saying like red rum, and he's just like he's like visioning like or imagining like what happened before in the Overlook Hotel with Mr. Grady and his family. That is just Danny Lloyd is just great in this movie, especially for a kid, man. Props to him. But again, I love Jack Nicholson. He's probably my favorite part about the movie, and I bet he's a lot of people's favorite part about the movie. He's definitely good. He's so great. He had me laughing in some scenes. Honey, I'm home. Like, it's just the stuff he says. And one thing I forgot to mention in this film, the bar scene. The bar scene is the scene that's like, okay, this dude's losing his mind. You know, he because at the beginning of the film they take all the alcohol away or something like that. Like they're packing up the hotel, and then when Jack goes to see Lloyd at the bar, that's when you know Jack is losing his mind, and he's becoming that whole story about Mr. Grady is getting rewritten through Jack and his family. I love that. I so love that. It focuses more on the past and the backstory. Like I said, I know I've said that before, but I just love that. I love that. So that is just this movie is just it's so great. A scene that had my heart racing, I just rewatched this a couple of seconds ago, was when Jack is chasing Danny through the maze, the Overlook Hotel maze, and it's snowing, and then, you know, spoiler alert. If you don't want spoilers, then just leave. Spoiler alert, they escape, and Danny and his mom escape, and then Jack is left in the maze, and then another spoiler alert, Jack dies, he freezes to death. It shows a picture of him frozen, and then it shows the iconic ballroom or gold room picture, ballroom, same thing, picture at the party or something. It's just everything about this film is backstory. It scares you with slowness. And if you're going to watch this movie and say, oh, this is boring, go do some research, buddy. I mean, people have different opinions, but I just love this film. Everything about this film is brilliant. It's a masterpiece. You can't argue with that. What would I give The Shining? 5 out of 5, definitely. I mean, come on now. 5 out of 5. So, I hope you liked this review. I will be reviewing more. I'm thinking of doing a franchise review soon. I'm thinking of either Halloween, because that's probably my favorite franchise. Halloween, I love Michael Myers. I will be doing that soon. I will be reviewing some more movies. I gotta figure out when, though, but I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. If you haven't checked out this movie, please go check it out, especially if you consider yourself a horror fan. You're not a horror fan if you haven't seen The Shining. Just kidding. But alrighty, guys, thanks for watching. Like, rate, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.